Hello guys, you are all welcome in Master Stroke IS Academy Anthropology classroom program. And as you all know, the result of UPSC main examination is already announced. So from my side, I would like to welcome everyone, those who are competing and those who are not competed. So for all those guys, there is no need to disappoint yourself. Better starts a fresh journey, and now you have enough time to prepare yourself for the next term. So in today's lecture, I am going to discuss about one of the most important topic of anthropology, and the topic name is anthropological thoughts. Before going to start this session, if you want to know about me, myself, Mukesh Singh, founder of Master Stroke IS Academy. This academy is offline academy. Now it is running in Mukherjee Nagar, Delhi. And since last 17 years, I am running this academy for civil service examination. Now we are providing you online courses, offline courses. Few things I would like to first of all announce, and after that I will come on the topic. What actually I'm going to start in today's topic and what actually I'm going to cover. So I'm going to cover a detailed discussion on the very first thought of anthropology. The name of thought is the evolutionism. In that I'm going to cover classical evolutionism and what is classical evolutionism, what is its significance, what is the contribution of E.B. Tyler and the Morgan and Fraser in terms of the evolutionism, and why Westermarck and Fraser and other scholars criticize the evolutionism. So evolutionism is one of the founding theory of the anthropology optional subject. Now the matter And now the thing is that I'm going to announce today. First is we have already started uh, our test series, the classroom courses. Further, we are going to start from 6th of November test series for those who are going to appear this year 2021 main examination that will starts in the January. And for that we are also announced the crash course. The crash course we will starts from the 1st of the November. To those students who wants to join our classroom courses in terms of the crash course and the test series, you all are welcome. And now you have a very short span of time. In that short span of time, one need to be strategic, because without a sound strategic move, you cannot get your desired score. So first of all, just you should minimize your syllabus by at least 60%, and once you minimize the syllabus by 60%, definitely you will achieve your desired targets. So all these things keep in mind, and start writing as much as possible. From right now today's onward, at least you need to adopt a fresh approach and give a due time on the writing work, because writing ultimately determines your mains marks. And so if you don't want to put yourself a burden of interview, then you need to score well in the main examination, and for that you need to work hard and do hard practice. So guys, let's start. And whatever I want to say, that I would already told you. So as those who are watching this session and now they are the fresher. So fresher, my message is, before going to appear in the preliminary examination, you should first of all cover your entire optional subject. And after covering the optional subject, prepare your essay, cover your and prepare your GS paper 4, paper 2 especially, and in your interview also. And all this preparation you must complete it at least 3 to 4 months before preliminary examination, and then you will appear in the preliminary prelims. Definitely you will get what you want to become. So next move. Uh, so our today's topic is basically evolutionism, and in this topic, in this discussion, I'm going to give you a real exposure on evolutionism. To make heading evolutionism. So our today's lecture topic is evolutionism. So if you have any question, please ask your question. I am here to answer your question also. To those who are watching this session, at least I am expecting from your side, you should ask your question as much as question you want to ask. It's up to you. And make this session more interactive. And this is my expectation from all of you. So what is evolutionism? Evolutionism is one of the most important theory of the anthropology. And as you all know, the birth of this theory, how this theory originated. So like biological evolutionism, like biological evolution, biological evolution, evolution of culture or the cultural evolution takes place. So first of all, man evolved biologically and later by manipulating the physical world, they evolve culturally. So biological evolution leads to the cultural evolution. And as you know, the evolution is a gradual process in that modification and changes takes place in long run. Similarly, what I told, evolution is a gradual process, in that modification and changes takes place in long run. So this modification and changes not only associated with biological evolution, it is also incorporated with cultural evolution. The way our physical features or biological structure evolve and modified and finally changes, and that results we are not exactly look like apes, rather we are different species from the apes. Exactly in the same way, cultural evolution takes place, in which the modification and changes takes similarly as in the biological world. Second thing is, the cultural evolutionist to have a fresher, beginners, and those who want to know what kind of modification changes. So if you want to observe it, just starts observing the social institutions, the form of marriage that are that exist in today's society, that are not similar to those that was in the Neolithic time or before that. The technology that we are using right now, that are not the technology of the Paleolithic or Mesolithic time, that are totally different. So that change in technology, change in social institutions, change in art and literary work, or the language, or the economy, and in other social relations. These changes are known as the cultural changes. These modifications are known as the cultural modification, and that happens in cultural spheres. So likewise, biological evolution takes place, cultural evolution takes place. And the way the proponents of biological evolution are differing in their opinion exactly in the similar way. The cultural evolutionists differing, and that leads to evolution of or birth of different thoughts in describing the culture, like evolutionism, functionalism, diffusionism, historical particularism, and so many. And all the theory related to cultural evolution are collectively known as cultural evolutionism. Before evolutionism or before cultural evolutionism, even a systematic definition of culture was not given by any scholar, and it was E.B. Tylor, first anthropologist and first scholar, who gave a definite, systematic, and first definition of culture. So for the systematic discussion, we need to move on the next slide. So first of all, what happened? So cultural evolutionism, for the sake of better understanding, the scholars divided into or classified it into two different groups. One is the classical evolutionist, and other is the neo-evolutionist. Classical evolutionist or evolutionism that evolved in 19th century or in the mid 19th centuries, while the neo-evolutionism or evolutionist that evolved in the late 20th centuries, in the 20th centuries. On the basis of nationality, the classical evolutionist or evolutionism are further classified into the three groups. One is the British, other is the American, and third one is the German school of anthropology. The British school of classical evolutionism, British school, other is the American school, and third one is the German school. Similarly, the neo-evolutionism are further categorized into two schools. One is the British schools, and other is the American schools. So now the thing is, to first of all make heading British school, classical evolutionism, British school. So the main proponent of this school was the E.B. Tylor. Main proponent E.B. Tylor. And along with E.B. Tylor, there was many others, those who contributed. So that was L.S. Morgan. L.S. Morgan, R.R. Not L.S. Morgan. E.B. Tylor, James Fraser, and the R.R. Marriott. So they are the main proponent of the British school of the classical evolutionism. According to this, one thing everyone must remember, the classical evolutionists are also considered as the unilinear evolutionists because they believe that human culture evolved in unilinear sequence. Unilinear sequence means society evolved from a period of savagery to barbarism to civilizations. So savagery is basically the initial phase of human culture, barbarism, and then the civilization. Okay, and that's why they are considered as the unilinear evolutionist because together they believe that society evolved from simple to complex in several stages or stages after stages, and human culture was developed from the earliest stage of savagery to the barbarism and then to the civilizations. Because they assume that the cultural parallelism or the cultural parallel and cultural similarity are the result of psychic unity, and psychic unity are due to the equal development of the brain across the world on this earth among the human beings. And therefore, everywhere thing goes in the similar fashion. Of course, their assumptions are not based on field work. Few among them hardly did little field work, but their whole assumptions are based on some imagination and whatever data or secondary data they used in giving and proposing their assumptions. Because they think that if the human mind express or share similar characters and react and think in similar way in similar situation, and therefore this means that all people and their corresponding society go through the same process of development, and they use similar cultural survival as a raw material for the next level of cultural development. Cultural survival means the remains left by the earlier existing cultures. So they use that as a raw material in order to invent next level of inventions. And on the basis of all this discussion, we can say that the classical evolutionism based on the following features, or comprises the following features. The number one. So next make heading features of classical evolutionism. According to this, all social institutions, all social institutions evolve in a unilinear sequence. All social institutions evolve in unilinear sequence. Unilinear sequence stands for from simple to complex. From simple to complex. It stands from homogeneity to heterogeneity. Homogeneity to heterogeneity. Who is more diverse? Heterogeneity. And from indefinite to definite. So the primitive society are simpler in nature. Primitive society are homogeneous in nature. Primitive society are indefinite in nature. Now, gradually they acquire a complex structure. Gradually they acquire a heterogeneous structure. Gradually they acquire a definite structure. Because primitive society are savagery. Gradually they become barbarism, and finally they become civilized. Of course, our society is civilized, but the nature, the structure, and the form of civilized society are more complex, more heterogeneous, and more definite. And that's why. Another features of the classical evolutionism is the similarity in culture and cultural traits. Similarity in cultural and cultural traits are because of psychic unity. So they basically thrusted on the psychic unity. And this psychic unity, that is the equal mental development, equal mental development, that leads to equal mental development, that leads to what? So this psychic unity or equal mental development leads to similarity in culture and cultural traits. Similarity in culture and cultural traits. So whatever culture develops in different part, why they are similar? Because of the psychic unity, because of the equal mental development, and that's why they respond exactly in the same way, react exactly in the same way, and invent exactly the thing in the same way, and that's why. So this is the features of the classical evolutionism. Next make heading British classical evolutionism. Now I'm going to talk about one by one. As I already told you, the classical evolutionism is classical evolutionism is categorized into three groups on the basis of nationality. One is the British, other is the American, and third one is the German. Now make heading this one by one. British classical evolutionism. British classical evolutionism. The main proponent of this school was the E.B. Tyler. E.B. Tyler was the main proponent. If anyone has any question, please do ask your questions. I am here to answer you. Once again, I repeat. And according to this school, society develops gradually. And Tyler accepted the Montesquieu's three stages of classification of society, and according to him, human culture has developed through the stages of savagery, barbarism, and the civilizations. So the prehistoric society means the society belongs to the before Stone Age, that was savagery. The society onward Stone Age, and means along with the Stone Age and the Bone Age, they are kept in the barbarism period. And the society onward Neolithic Age or the Iron Age are considered as the more advanced society or the civilized society. And therefore, E.B. Tyler is regarded as the father of modern anthropology, and also known as unilinear evolutionist. Of course, he did not offer any details about the prehistoric, Middle Age, or more advanced age society's features, but he was the first anthropologist and first scholar who provide us a clear-cut, systematic, well-defined definition of the culture. And according to him, the culture, according to him, culture is that complex whole, is that complex whole which include knowledge, which includes knowledge, belief, arts, morals, laws, customs, and any other capabilities. And any other capability. and habits of and better right here in this side, right, and habits. Once again, I'm going to write the definition properly. So according to Tyler, culture is, write down, that whole, that complex whole, which include which includes knowledge, belief, arts, morals, laws, customs, and any other capabilities and any other capabilities and habits acquired by man as a member of society. So this is the first systematic definition given by the Tyler. Culture is that complex whole which includes knowledge, belief, arts, morals, laws, customs, and any other capabilities and habits acquired by man as a member of society. So what we acquired, what we learned in terms of all these spheres that are considered as the culture. And with this definition, he was the first scholar who ruled out the concept of genetic transmission of culture. So with this definition, he ruled out the concept of genetic transmission. Remember it. Genetic transmission of culture. Because earlier people believed that culture transmit through genes, but now they consider it is not transmitted through genes or the chromosome. Rather, it is a whole set or whole complex set that comprises knowledge, that comprises belief, that comprises arts, morals, laws, and customs, and any other capabilities and habits acquired by man. Acquired by man. Remember it. It talks about acquired feature. It not talks about the inherited feature. So what we acquired as a human being from our society through learning, that are called the culture. Culture is not a genetically transmitted complex, rather it is a acquired habits or efforts put by man as a member of society. So remember this definition once, and about it he was discussed in his book Primitive Culture. Primitive Culture in 1871. This book was written by Tyler in 1871. Remember, And with this discussion, he started the debates. As you all know, E.B. Tyler is an undergraduate. He holds a chair of British University. He first became a lecturer, then a reader, and finally attained a status of a professor at Oxford University. In 1856, he visited Mexico, where he witnessed the exploration of in Mexico, where it witnessed the exploration of Perigord cave, and this led to the publication of Tyler's first book, Mexico and Mexican. Mexico and Mexican. And this book was published in 1861 from London. In his another major work, like a research into the early history of mankind and development of civilization, he presented his scheme of evolution. Tyler was known for not only his greatest ever contribution in the field of the culture, also in the field of the religion. In the field of because in the field of culture, he, like the Montesquieu, agreed to evolution of society from the period of savagery to the barbarism to the civilized. In religion, Tyler's opinion, of course, unwired several others later, but he said that the primitive society practices no religion, and the most primitive form of religion is simply a animism, and the term animism was first of all coined by him. Animism is something that deals about practicing totemism, and under totemism, people's worshipping plant and animals. It is based on practicing of totemism, and totemism means worship of plant and animals. So this belief is based on this worship of plant and animals. And later he said from animism, polytheism came, and from polytheism, monotheism evolved. Monotheism evolved. Now the question is, in the animism state, society of peoples worshipping the plant and animals. So gradually, what happened? He started practicing polytheism because later he realized that soul is not only associated with the human body, rather, soul is found everywhere, and that's why he started believing in the polytheism. Because earlier they believed soul only found in some animals, some plants, and that's why they start worshipping the plant and the animals. But later he realizes, na, and that's why they started polytheism, and finally they came into the result: all souls are same, and that's why they start believing in one God, because all souls are one. This concept leads to evolution of the monotheism. So religion evolved in that way, society evolved in that way. About the evolution of religion, about the evolution of society, he discussed in his book Primitive Culture. Because about culture, he said primitive peoples or the prehistoric peoples are leads a savagery life. Middle stage peoples live a life like a barbaric, and later civilization evolved. So you can compare all these things to the Stone Age, Bone Age, Bronze Age, Stone Age, Bronze Age, and the Iron Age. So it is up to you in what way you are taking it. So now, if you have any question, do ask your question. I am here to answer you. So for rest of the topic, I will discuss later. Thank you. Bye.